Hi, my name is Steve Colbern. I'm a chemist by profession, and I'm based in Southern California. And for the last several years, I've had the unique opportunity to analyze uh, several types of alien artifacts, including alien implants and crash debris from UFOs. And for several years before he died, I was working with Dr. Roger Lear, who's was a physician in Southern California that removed implants from patients, and I got the opportunity to analyze five of the implants that he removed from patients over the years. He was in that field from around 1994 until 2014, and I've we uncovered some unique findings from those implants. The way I met Dr. Lear was back in 2008. I realized I had, under strange circumstances, I realized that I had a foreign object in my toe that was not there previously, and I had reason to believe it could be alien in origin. And Dr. Lear, surprisingly enough, only worked a few blocks from where I used to work in Camarillo, California, and I went to him as a patient and said I had a foreign object in my toe, and he gave me a prescription to get it x-rayed. After I got the prescription for the x-ray, I went and had the toe x-rayed, and they gave a copy to me, and I was going to see something on the film, but when I did, it changed my life forever. And I had a lot of big toys to play with at work at that time, a lot of instruments that we could use to analyze these objects. So Dr. Lear consented to have me analyze both my object and several objects he'd removed over the years from other patients. The lab I used to work at had an electron microscope with EDX bulk elemental analysis capability, and we could do EDX mapping on that. And it also had a Raman spectrometer that could detect carbon nanotubes, and we were using it for carbon nanotube research at that time. We had an extensive array of light microscopes and different techniques on that, and we also could send out the samples for ICP-MS trace element analysis along with isotopic analysis, and we subjected the samples to all those techniques and found out they had strange nanostructures, including carbon nanotubes, and most likely carbon nanotube electronics, and the isotopic analysis indicated that most likely came from outside the solar system. Every element on Earth has a characteristic array of different isotopes with different atomic masses, and the ratio of the isotopes with different atomic masses to each other is characteristic of all elements on Earth. So if that ratio is off by more than 1% or so, it means it came from outside the Earth. And these ratios were so off that they most likely came from some other part of the galaxy. Dr. Lear was in business removing implants from patients from around 1994 until I think he did his first surgeries in 1994 until 2014, up until practically up until the day he died. The last surgery was surgery number 17 in 2013, and so he removed a total of 17 objects from patients, and I think he still had a total of 12 or 13 of them by the time he passed away, and bequeathed the majority of them to me to study. And I've currently extensively studied 5 of them, and I'd like to, if I get more funding, to do more, including microelectronic studies to prove that they actually have electronics inside them. The carbon nanotube structures appear to be electronics embedded in the metal, and that's a huge thing. And one of them was so strong that it's probably stronger than any other known material. We had to use a high energy laser to cut it. Diamond tools would not cut it. That's unprecedented. 100 years beyond science to do right now. And this is hard evidence of an alien interaction with humans on Earth. I currently have a collection of implant objects in a safe place, and it's the only one of its kind on Earth. I'm currently dedicating my life to helping other experiencers find out if they have implants and try to get them removed if they so desire. And I've done a lot of scanning of people using Roger Lear's techniques for implants using small metal detectors and magnetic field detectors, radio frequency detectors. These objects often give off radio frequencies when they're still in the body, and they usually have a magnetic field that's quite strong for their size. So if you get a hit with a magnetic field detector and with a metal detector, then there's probably an implant under the skin. And so they're fairly easy to detect, and I've detected quite a few in scanning people that claim to have implants. And we've also detected a few on X-ray as well. You have to follow the scanning procedure up with an X-ray. And so now all we need is more funding for more removals, and we could get this proven to the satisfaction of mainstream science. We'll probably need to have at least 100 of the objects before we convince mainstream science, because they're quite skeptical of this phenomenon. Aside from my implant research, I've also had the opportunity to study some crash debris from a UFO crash out in New Mexico, the San Augustine UFO event. And most of the pieces are strips of aluminum, and there's also some other stuff, like somebody gave me fabric from what was allegedly an alien shoe, and a piece from of plastic from an object that almost seemed like an artificial heart. And I've analyzed the 6 of the pieces of aluminum quite extensively, and it appeared that those had nanostructures in them as well, and had a lot of different elements that aren't found in most aluminum samples on Earth, at least not in 1947 when the crash occurred. And we'd like to search the crash site more to find some of the materials that were found at Roswell, like the memory metal. Yeah, I actually got hypnotically regressed and remembered it under regression. I didn't remember the implant experience consciously at first, but I just woke up. First, I went out in the backyard one night when I was staying at the house alone after my wife had had our daughter, and she was staying with her mother for a while. And I came to the house to water the plants and heard some noise out in the backyard. Went out in the backyard and I see these 2 huge raccoons. One of which was about 70 or 80 pounds. I didn't even know they got that big. They were enormous. And the other one was about 50 pounds. And they seemed semi-tame, so I fed the animals some cat food and watched them for a while, then went inside and went to bed and woke up about 8 o'clock the next morning and had this burning pain in my toe and a bruised feeling at the side of my head. And I just had a gut feeling that the aliens had been there in the middle of the night and that I had 2 more implants. And there was some blood on the pillow, or on the sheet rather, and I examined the toe under a UV light, and there were 2 green fluorescent dots corresponding right to 2 puncture wounds on the underside of the toe. And it looked like somebody had stuck a rod right through the underside of the toe. But they healed incredibly fast. Within a few hours, the puncture wounds were gone. And we'd also had some weird experiences before that. My wife had said that she was examined by some type of a piece of sheet metal. She said it looked like, with a bunch of colors around it, that scanned her up and down when she was in bed. And she said that that was a few weeks before the impact. I started waking up, it turned into a red beam of light and shot out the window. And she also had red triangles on her abdomen that she'd wake up with during her pregnancies, and strange dreams that didn't seem like dreams, stuff like that. And my first wife straight out complained of being abducted by aliens. I didn't believe her at that time, but she remembered it consciously, apparently.
Wow. So it sounds like you're on the list.
Yeah, I've got a lot of activity.